Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Prince Show. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, coming to you each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, giving you nothing but intel, detailed information throughout HBCU land, none in particular than the SWAC and the MEAC, but of course we cover from the rooter to the tutor. Today will be no exception to the rule. We are happy to introduce to some, present to others, to the Southwestern Athletic Conference. That is none other than Coach Carnell Maynor of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great.
All right.
How you doing?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. Welcome to the Southwestern Athletic Conference, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm happy to be in the Southwest Conference where they play a tough brand of football, have a lot of support and knowledgeable fans and alumni. And I know it's big time football here, especially in Alabama, but also in the SWAC.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now you left in what I'm going to call decent standing. You were 20 and 25 overall as the Hampton Pirates leader. You've had some success at Winston-Salem. Overall record 60 plus wins. A proven track record. And my question is, what took you so long to get to Alabama A&M, man?
Well, I was a CIAA guy. I played in the CIAA before I transferred and went to A&T, which was a MEAC. So I was that's North Carolina, that's home. And so I was CIAA MEAC guy. And so that's what took so long. I had to give both of them an opportunity, and now it's on to the SWAC.
On to the SWAC. So you're going ahead on your forward journey. Now, I got to ask you this, and I ask this of all football coaches. Coaching is a passion, but it's also one of those hazardous jobs as far as you're in 1 minute, you're out the next minute. How do you keep your mental stability in your approach to doing your job?
You just got to know that it's a part of it. It's only been two types of coaches. Coaches been hired and coaches been fired. And you just try to do all you can do, get your guys prepared, and get them to go out and play as hard as they can, and let the wins and the control what you can control, and let other people control what they control. So you go out and try to get as many wins and graduate as many student athletes as you can, and develop those guys into men and leaders and role models, and then hopefully the university is happy with that and keep retaining you.
And we're speaking right now with Coach Maynor of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Just was introduced this past Monday, January 22nd, to Bulldog Nation. Now, Coach, you kind of come in as a late bloom here on this side of the track. How is that an advantage, or is it even a disadvantage from your viewpoint?
Well, it's definitely not an advantage. You're coming in late, it affects you recruiting-wise. That's going to be the biggest issue, recruiting wise. We got 2 weeks left, and so we got to try to see, all the guys that they offered already here at Alabama A&M. We got to go back and evaluate all those guys to see if we want to stay committed to those guys or not, and then we got to try to find some more guys to get in here on the last weekend of next week, and evaluate those guys, and hopefully those guys don't have other visits set up, and those are the negatives. When you come in this late, people have visits already set up for this weekend and next weekend. So it makes it a little hard, but, we would like to sign about 8 or 9 guys on signing day. We don't want to sign 13, 14, 16 guys getting in this late. We don't want to sign guys just to be signing guys. We want to sign difference makers, guys that we think fit our system and what we want to do here at A&M. And then maybe sign a couple of transfers or a couple of JUCOs and fill in some empty spots that way, then go out and sign 18 guys and don't be the best 18 guys. So we're not going to handicap ourselves by just signing guys to be signing.
That was going to be my next question, with you coming in as late, just to get over this hump for that first year. Would it be to your advantage to kind of go that JUCO route to kind of feel some experience and some size, if you would, to get you out the gates running?
Right. We got to fill some holes, see what we do here on signing day, and where we at with our numbers, with each position, and with our experience at each position, and then we'll say, okay, we need an older tight end, or We need an older running back, or we need a fast running back, or we need a scat back running back, or we need an older DB that can come in here and play right now. We need two interior defensive linemen. And so then you go to JUCO and transfer route to get the rest of those guys to plug in the areas that you need. And that's the only and best route I think you can do at this time.
We're talking right now with Coach Carnell Maynor, new head football coach of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, a former coach of the Hampton Pirates, who those who may not be aware have left the MEAC to head for the Big South Conference. I'm still scratching my head on that one, Coach, but we'll leave that over there on that side of the water. We'll get back now. We'll get back now and ask this question. With you coming in as late as you did, it's going to always be a challenge to always find the best coaches available. But are you almost going to be, at least for this go-round, forced the hand that's dealt to you to retain most of the coaches that you're inheriting?
No, sir. I retained two coaches. I retained the offensive line coach, Keith Wagner, coach with me at Winston-Salem before he left me to go with Broadway to Grambling, and then he left Grambling and went to A&T with Broadway. Then he came here last year. So I already knew that he was a great football coach and what he can do, and his loyalty will be to me in this program. So I kept him, and then I kept Travis Pearson, who was the defensive coordinator here last year, and he's going to be outside linebacker safeties coach. So those are only two guys that I retained, and I brought the other guys in.
Okay, would you be at liberty to introduce your staff to our listening audience?
Yeah, defensive line coach William Carr. He coached last year at Morgan State defensive line. Previous 3 years before that, he was at Michigan with Jim Harbaugh, and I known him, and so I brought him on as the defensive line coach. We already said the outside linebackers, safeties is Travis Pearson that was here. The DB coach would be Charles Huff. He played in the NFL for 8-9 years at cornerback, and he's been a DC at D2 and had the number 1 defense, number 2 defense in the nation. And so he's a coordinator. Travis is a coordinator. And then we got my defensive coordinator is Mark DiBassiani. He was defense coordinator at Norfolk State when I first got to Hampton, and had the number 2 defense in the nation the year before I got there, and always had a good defense at Norfolk. And then so when Pete got fired at Norfolk, I hired Mark at Hampton, and he was with me for about a month and a half. And then McElwain got the job at Florida, and he went to Florida with McElwain. So he's been in Florida for the past 3 years on the Florida staff under McElwain. And then they got released this year. So he was back available again, so I got him as my DC. So I think that defensive side of the ball, we got 3 defensive coordinators, and we got some high school head coaches. So I think we got an excellent staff over there on that side of the football. Those guys all know all 3 ends of the defense with D-line, linebackers, and secondary. And so the guys will be coached up. They'll be well coached, and those guys really know the game. Offensively, my tight end coach would be Marcus Lawrence. He coached with me at Hampton and played for me when I was at Winston-Salem State. He was All-American. Quarterback coach would be Jason Mai. He played quarterback in the CIAA. He coached in the CIAA. He coached with me at Hampton. He coached at St. Aul. He was offensive coordinator there. So he'd be the quarterback coach. Again, another guy with coordinator experience. My offensive coordinator is going to be Dwayne Taylor. He's my offensive coordinator at Hampton. He was with me for the last 7 years. He played quarterback, and so he coached the wide receivers and be the OC. And then my running back coach is going to coach running backs and be the special teams coordinator. You probably heard of this guy before. Brian Jenkins.
Oh, what do you know? Old Jinx has risen back up from Bethune to Alabama State, now with Alabama A&M. A reunion, in some words.
Yes, sir. So that's the staff. I think that's an excellent staff. and the thing about it is I think all these guys are going to be loyal and to me in this program, and that's why I hired each and every last one of them.
Now, from my understanding from the list that you've called off, you're going to be more the type of the head coach that's going to make sure that everybody's in place doing what they need to do, and you kind of get the overall feel for every special teams, offense, and defense as a whole.
Yes, sir.
That's excellent. That's excellent. We're speaking right now with newly hired football coach for the Alabama A&M Bulldogs, Coach Carnell Maynor. Just listed his staff in whole, and looks like you guys are going to be ready. Now, trust is always a huge factor, especially when you're putting together your coaching staff. How long, and probably not in this case, but how long does it take in most cases to get the team of coaches to be on one accord that can sell the same message to the players?
I don't think that takes long. The OC is going to implement his offense and their defenses. And like I said, we got a bunch of ex-coordinators that know the game of football. And so it won't be a problem at all for those guys to adjust, and we're going to adjust what we do based on our personnel and what we think works best that week. That's not a huge problem for the coaches to get on the same page. Coaches all know football. Most of the time it's just a matter of terminology. Everybody run the same plays, but they call it different stuff. Everybody run the same defenses, but they call them different blitzes. So it's just a matter of getting the terminology that the OC and the DC is running.
Absolutely. Now, do you, in some cases, tone down I don't want to say dummy down, but that seems to fit for me, for my purposes. Do you dummy down the exotic names to simplify where it's easier for everybody to get on the same page? And as your players begin to pick up the terminology, the languages, and the expectations of the assignments, do you begin to add a little bit more exotic names to these assignments?
Yeah, you always start with the basics. Start with the basics first. But the good thing is we still got spring ball. It ain't like we're coming in and didn't have a chance to have a spring practice and just put all this in and go. You really would have to dumb you down if you did that, and so those guys can play fast and know what they're doing. But since we got a chance for the spring, we can meet and kind of install before we get out there, and then when we get out there, we can take it slow. And as we go along, add a little bit more stuff to it, and hopefully by this summer, get some guys up here in summer school, have those guys doing some 7-on-7 on their own and stuff, and now they'll know the defense and the offense, and they can kind of run it themselves. And then by when August get here, September get here, we'll be ready to roll. Everybody know the systems, and we'll be ready to roll.
Well, exciting times in Huntsville, Alabama. Coach Maynor taking over the charge. Now, Coach, you already admitted a little while ago that being behind the eight ball, if you allow me to use that terminology as far as recruiting, how critical is it going to be to assess the talent that you already have and then implement the scheme according to the talent level that you have available right now?
Well, that's going to be difficult. But we got a couple of coaches. We got one from the offense and one from the defense to kind of help us out with the talent level and who's good and who's not, and what we really need to get better at. And like I say, we're going to try to find the best available players on signing day that fit our systems and our needs, and type players that we think are going to be Bulldog players that we want here in Alabama A&M. It's going to be it really won't be that difficult, because once we have the spring, we actually get to get out there and say, okay, this guy can do this, this guy can't do that. Like I say, we're not going to use up all our scholarships. So now after spring ball, we really know, okay, this is a hole we need to plug. We need to get this guy. We need a tight end. We don't have a true blocking tight end, or we don't have a true passing tight end, or we need another tackle. We got one tackle, we got two guards, we got a center, but we need another tackle. So then we go JUCO route or transfer route and try to get those and fill in those spots. So spring will be crucial, but we'll know it all after spring ball.
Speaking again, ladies and gentlemen, with Coach Carnell Maynor of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. Now, just for on-paper purposes, Coach, what is your offensive scheme and your defensive scheme?
Defensively, we're gonna be doing a little bit of everything. We'll be a little bit 3-4, a little bit of 4-3, a little bit of 4-2-5, and like I say, we're gonna make it fit our personnel, and whatever personnel we have, we're gonna play that defense. and then as we go on, we'll recruit the personnel to play the defense that we really want to play. Offensively, we're going to be multiple, and the reason we are multiple is for the same reason. Offensively, my philosophies are play to your strengths. Don't ask your kids to do what things they can't do, and play to the defense weakness. So a lot of what we do in offense is going to be determined on what defense they're playing. If they're playing cover 3, then we got cover 3 beaters, and they playing cover 2, and they don't dare us to run the ball, then we got to run the ball. If they're going to play cover 1 and cover 0, bring pressure, play man-to-man, we got to run crossing routes, picks, and throw the ball down the field. So it's all going to be determined on what the defense is going to do. It's not rocket science. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but we're going to play to our strengths and defense weaknesses.
Well, Coach, I want again to thank you for making yourself available, welcome you to the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and as custom here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, we're going to give you the last say on this segment before we shut it down.
Okay, well, I just appreciate y'all having me, and I'm speechless for being in the SWAC. I can't wait to play these teams in the SWAC. We got a lot of great teams. We got the Classic to play. We got Alcorn to play. Southern and Grambling is over there doing their thing, and it's exciting times. And I'm just happy to be in the SWAC and a chance to compete against these great coaches and these great teams that they have, and look forward to them.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Carnell Maynor of the Alabama A&M Bulldogs leading the way for the maroon and white. He's hitting the ground running, and mightily well, I should add. This is the Radio Guy, Dr. Mike Prince, reminding you that you can follow me on Twitter at Radio Guy. Instagram is Radio Guy 22. And don't forget the website is obn-radio.com. Until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.